Hi, I'm Father Jim Forson, and I'd like to share with you reflections on the Gospel of this 33rd Sunday in Ordinary Time. You know, this Gospel is one that makes you want to ask, Jesus, are you trying to scare us all half to death? People are with Jesus and they're looking at the temple in Jerusalem and they're admiring it. And well, they should, because the temple in Jerusalem was one of the, if not the largest temple, Jewish or pagan, in the Mediterranean. It was over 35 acres, and it was just beautiful. And the people are admiring its beauty and all the jewels that adorn it. And Jesus is hearing this. And he basically says to them, you like this temple, do you? It's coming down. Not one stone on top of the other. And they're shocked and, of course, ask him, what, when, where? And then he really begins to frighten us when he says, nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be powerful earthquakes and famines and plagues from place to place, awesome sights and mighty signs in the sky. But before this, they will throw you into prisons. You will even be handed over by your parents or brothers or relatives and friends, and some will put you to death. I mean, I'm not going to sleep that night. Jesus, are you trying to frighten us all? And the answer is, of course, no, he's not. People can easily, though, misunderstand what Jesus is saying and think that he is talking about a future event or giving people a roadmap of things yet to come. He's not. He is using apocalyptic language, which uses fantastic imagery to be able to describe a theological point. He wasn't the only one to do it. I mean, Isaiah did it, Jeremiah did it, Daniel, and in the New Testament, John used it often. Paul did, and Jesus is here, using fantastic signs and images to be able to communicate a point. And the point is not what's something that's going to happen one day in the future, but rather the point is what's happening now, in this moment. And so, what was the truth that Jesus was speaking to his people? Well, it was a frightening truth. And he was saying to them, this temple where you find your surety and your security, where you see God with you, present upon earth, this temple is going to be destroyed. It's coming down. It's going to change. And with it will be all of your self-identity, your surety, perhaps even your heritage. It's all passing away. He was saying that to the people in the first century as he is saying it to the people in the 21st century. The temples in which you reside, where you find your security, your surety, where you find your God, all of those temples are going to pass away. All of those temples will be torn down. I think of the temples that I grew up in. You know, the country that I was born into in 1953, it's gone. I mean, in 1953, when I was a young boy growing up, I didn't know anything about gay rights or women's rights or civil rights. I didn't know any of that kind of stuff at all. And that world that I was born into, very secure, very tight, that's gone. And it's not coming back. The church that I was born into, you know, we spoke Latin. And every family had 4, 5, 6 kids. And we all went to church on Sunday. And the scoutmasters were all Catholic. And the summer camp counselors were all Catholic. And we lived in a real Catholic ghetto. And ours was a real white church. And the Mexicans were over there in their church. And the blacks were over there in their church. And the Italians in their church. And the Poles in their church. And that's the way the church was back then. And that church has passed away. And that church is not coming back, although people yearn for it. They want to have that church that they once had that made them feel safe, secure, made them feel connected with God. And they want to be able to somehow get that back, just as in our country. People yearn for that mystical past that we once had and want to try to somehow recreate it. Those temples are all torn down. And they're not coming back. So did Jesus say to the people in his time? And what is he saying to the people in our time? What he's not saying is, here's a roadmap to the future. Here's what you can be able to look for along your way that will help you understand the world. No, he's not talking about the future at all. He's talking about the present moment. Because God doesn't live in the past. And God does not live in the future. Neither of those exist. He only lives in the present moment. And what he is saying to his people is, when your temples get torn down, when the world in which you live passes away, you must search for God in the midst of the chaos, in the midst of the rubble, because he is there. I read once this thought that when there is chaos all around us, when there is death and destruction in our world, perhaps all of that loss of control and that center does not hold and things seem to be spinning out of control, perhaps that is because something big and beautiful and new is trying to be born. And it is in that something new and big and beautiful, that's where we find God. And we begin to find our surety. I think the author Ann Patchett said it best when she wrote, faith means that when you don't see God in something, you roll up your sleeves and seek him out because you know absolutely he is there. And when our temples are coming down and they are passing away, and it feels as if the life that I knew is gone, and those temples that are passing away, they could easily be my health, which no longer is as I knew it, and my life is changing. They can be my marriage, which comes to an end because of divorce or death. They can be the job I have where I get fired. The home I live in gets burnt down. All of those temples in which I lived that have fallen down, and now I am on shaky ground, and I do not know where God is. I must roll up my sleeves. I must do what Jesus said to his people. Persevere. Take courage. Look for God in the midst of that rubble, and you certainly will find him because absolutely he is there. This is what Jesus is saying. In the midst of that fallen temple, you will find God.